So another way to look at this is to think about, okay, given all that, what do we tell senior management? They don't want to read 70 pages of risk registers, do they? They want to be given a very summarized view of the risks. Maybe the trends, maybe something graphical. You don't want to tell them you need to read these 6 pages and look at all this data. They will not do that. So I think you've got to create something that's going to be easy for them to take in, easy on the eye, key messages. So let me show you some examples of alternative ways of giving senior management the right information about risks. Firstly, maybe do something more as a presentation type effort. So maybe you can show them how many red risks there were, how many red risks you now have. Again, looking at the inherent and the residual risk. Let's say, you have 16 risks altogether. 12 of those were in the red zone, but because you've dealt with those, there's only 3 left, residual risks. And then say to the board, we're going to tell you about those 3. Because obviously, if you've got those risks still in that red zone, you are under threat in relation to those. So chances are the board are going to be more interested about those. So don't tell them about them all. Another way you could look at it is from the organization point of view. So, let's say they were just the board type risks. You could say to them, there is 300 risks altogether, but there's only 11 of these that are in the red zone. Tell me those 11. I think that's a very good way of doing it. You can actually do a little graph or a chart which shows percentages. So only 4% of our risks are actually in the red zone. That's good. And then we can say, but we still need to deal with those 11 risks. You would show them a trend, show them the new risks that have come into that area and the ones that are removed. They're not really interested in the ones in the yellow and the green zone. That's for somebody else. You can also show them maybe the risk by category. So you can then show a picture about those. How many financial ones? How many regulatory ones? How many strategic risks we have? And maybe you can say, we're going to talk to you about the strategic risk, because they're the ones for the board. Or you can do it just to the red ones. So an example here, there are 3 residual red risks that are under the board's control. Therefore, we're going to talk more about those. But we'll also give you a little update on what action has been taken by other functions to deal with their red risks as well. This just gives you something very simple, very straightforward. Another way you can do this is to use the risk matrix, but instead of showing the identifiers or the labels on the boxes, show how many risks there are in each box. So you can actually show them a picture of there are 6 risks in this top box, there's 7 in the next one, etc. You can also then show the risks and accumulate them. So in this particular example, there would be 28 critical impact risks and 12 that are very likely to happen. So this allows you to maybe cut the data in slightly different ways. There's many ways you can do this, but the suggestion is do not give too much information. They're only really interested in those that are going to have the greatest impact on the organization. They're not really interested in inherent risk. They are interested in the residual risk, the risk we still have today. And what are we going to do about those? Maybe talk about the actions in place to deal with those. Maybe if it's been delayed, tell them that. Because the trouble is, the risks that are still in that red area, you are exposed. And if something happens, they need to be aware of that, there is still a chance it will happen now until we've addressed it. So I think there's ways you can look at that.